Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Camille with Yogini Transit, and today we're going to be doing our Transit Tuesdays yoga session. This series is called Blooming to Greatness, and it's about the analogy of empowerment and growth. So, last week, our theme was cultivation, which was the process of similar to how a farmer prepares his land for growth, cultivation within ourselves as people that allows us to prepare ourselves, prepare our body, our mind, our thoughts in order to have the best conditions for which we sow and plant the seeds that we want in our lives. So, last week was cultivation, and then this week is about sowing. So, when it comes to manifestation or getting what we want out of life, a lot of times people say, oh, well, go and plant the seeds. But if you skip that first step of cultivation, you're going to plant your seeds into barren land and they're not going to grow and they're not going to flourish. So now that we covered cultivation last week, we'll cover sowing this week and scattering our seeds and really um, allowing them to go deep into the ground. So, with that said, let's settle down, let's close our eyes, and just come to a position of stillness. Just come to a position of settled and still. And just allow your shoulders to melt away. Feel your breath flowing through you. Feel every sip of air that you take in, expanding your belly, your chest, your lungs. And as you exhale, feel it deflating, feeling that air that you no longer need releasing and letting go. And just continue with this sensation for a while as you inhale and exhale. Just letting the breath guide you, just letting this natural flow and this natural rhythm of your breath be your guide. Nice. From here, bring your hands together to your heart center, taking a deep breath in, filling up the lungs completely. Exhale through the mouth. Again, taking it in, filling up the lungs completely. One more time, fill it in, let everything expand, filling up every inch of space inside of you. Let it go. This time we'll take a deep breath in for Om. So breathing it in, filling it up. And release. And let's rub our hands together. Let's create some heat, some friction, some energy with our hands. And rub it until you feel the warmth. And then take your hands and place your hands over your eyes, letting that heat and warmth absorb into the eyelids. And taking another breath in. And then as you exhale, begin to open the eyes, begin to spread the fingers out wide, letting the light back in. And then bringing your hand back to heart center. Nice. From here, as we're here, remember we're using this time going into that theme of sowing. So I want you to imagine now, as you're sitting here with the hands together, the shoulders loose, the eyes closed, I want you to imagine and think of 3 things that you want and desire for your life. And I want you to imagine yourself taking each of those 3 things and embedding and injecting it into a little tiny seed. And I want you to open your hands and look into your hands. And I want you to imagine that those seeds are sprinkled in your hands, and each seed of the 3 things that you want in your life are embedded into those seeds. The DNA of what you desire to create for yourself is there in these seeds. So hold on to these seeds. And then take these seeds in your hands. And I want you to sprinkle these seeds all around you. To allow them to absorb. Nice. From here, let's now get into some movement. So bring your arms up into the air and interlock your fingers. And then turn your palms to face up. And from here, we're rooting down with our tailbone onto the mat. And then lifting, opening, and expanding up and fully stretching. And exhale, release, bringing it down to our side. Inhale, we'll sweep this left arm up and over. And then we'll sway to the right. Opening up, coming through and around. We'll bring this left hand down. We'll bring this right arm up and we'll sway to the left. And then again, pushing forward. So it becomes a dance. So sweeping up on one side, release. And open. And release. Go back. Release down. This one comes forward and around. So just kind of playing here, just opening up, just allowing your body to move, to grow, to expand. And we'll come back to center here. And with our hands on our knees, let's begin to bend the elbows as we bring the chest forward. And as we exhale, straighten the arms, bring the chin to the chest. Inhale, opening up fully, taking that deep breath in. And then exhale, bringing the chin to the chest. And let's add some sideways rotations with it. So going in a clockwise direction. Just close your eyes here. Just allow yourself to feel the connection to your breath, to your body. And come back to center. And we'll go the other way in a counterclockwise direction. And back to center. Nice. So let's come onto our hands and knees now, okay? And so we'll just pop our hands over to the side of our mat and just push ourselves up. So remember, like I always say, when you're on your hands and knees in this tabletop position, make sure that you're giving yourself the right support that you need. So making sure that you're not too far forward with your shoulders or too far back with your shoulders. You're in a nice straight line from shoulder to wrist. Your fingers are spread wide, and you're putting the pressure and most of the weight towards the front of your hands, towards your fingertips, and in the spaces between the fingers. Great. So from here, we're going to come forward into our cow position, and then we'll exhale into our cat position. Inhale forward into our cow, and exhale into our cat. Just doing these nice, gentle motions here to open up the spine. And just allow ourselves to get this movement going in our bodies. Nice. And we'll come back to center here. And what we're going to do now is that we're going to imagine right from the center of your heart dropping down. Imagine that there's a string or a pendulum there. And imagine that you're moving that pendulum or that string and you're drawing a circle with it, right? Just moving. So we're drawing our circle right now in a clockwise direction. So you can start out drawing tiny circles with your pendulum. And then you can make the circles even bigger and wider. Nice. And then make the circle super big. So bringing your butt down to the feet and then bringing your chest towards your hands and really making these big, wide, gigantic circles and opening up your body here. Nice. And we'll come back and we'll begin to let those circles get smaller again. Slowly, so bringing it back in. The circles are getting smaller and closer together and tighter until eventually we find ourselves back at stillness here. And then from here, we'll go the opposite way. So we'll go in a counterclockwise direction now. So this time our circles are going the opposite way. Again, starting off with small little baby circles. You can close your eyes here if you like to. Just feeling the sensation letting the circles begin to grow and begin to get bigger and bigger. So fully moving the body around. Nice. Big giant circles here, coming forward and back. And we're back to center. And as we're coming back, we're letting the circles get smaller and smaller until the circle is so small that it becomes a tiny dot in the center. Nice. From here, let's begin to walk our hands forward a bit. We're gonna press in, bring these toes, tuck these toes up, and we're gonna press into our downward facing dog. So it's the first one of the day, maybe for some of you, and maybe you're a little tight. So bend these knees as much as you need to, right? So feel the sensation of the chest moving towards the thighs, bending the knees, feeling the sensation of the tailbone coming up towards the sky. And just hang here for a bit, just pedaling out the feet. So bringing one leg straight and then bending the other. And switching back and forth. Just going here at your own pace. Just taking it slow, just warming up. And come back onto both legs. And then try to see if you can release the heels towards the mat a little bit more, keeping the knees bent if you need to. And from here, drop the knees down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Bring the toes together behind you and bring the knees apart. And begin to lower your tailbone down towards your heels. If you have a pillow or cushion here, that might be something good to support you. And just begin to settle down for a little bit. Coming into child's pose here. And just releasing, just relaxing, just letting go. Just connecting with the breath here. Feeling the sensations in your body. Great, and then we'll come back up onto the hands and knees here. Coming into our cow, into our cat, into our flat back, and walking the hands forward again. We'll come back into that downward facing dog here, just for a few breaths. And we'll bend the knees. We'll look at our hands And we're gonna tiptoe and walk our feet towards the hands. When we get here, we're gonna fold forward, just letting gravity take over, just letting it release everything, bending the knees as much as you need to here. And then we'll take a deep breath in, pressing into the feet. As we come up, we rise up, and we bring the hands overhead, and then we release the hands down by our side. Beautiful. So to continue on, let's sweep the arms up again. Look up, open up, receive. And then exhale, swan dive, bend the knees, fold forward. Let your body feel loose here. So not holding on to too much tension here, just letting it release, just feeling loose. And then again, coming, engaging the core as you come up, opening up, expanding. And then we'll release the arms down by our side here. And just taking a moment now to notice how you're feeling. Just taking the breaths in. And then from here, I'm going to turn this way to face you, but you can stay where you're at. So as you're sitting here, we're going to come into our chair pose. So bending the knees, making sure that you can see your big toe past your knee, right? Bending into the knee, sinking down. And then bringing your hand to heart center here. We're going to take this left forearm and we're going to turn and twist towards the right. Nice, back to center. Then we'll take that right forearm and we'll turn and twist towards the left. Beautiful, back to center. Opening up. And then we'll release into our forward fold here. Beautiful. From here, we'll come into our halfway lift. And we'll plant the hands down. We're going to step back into a plank position here. And we're going to lower down all the way to the ground. And I'll actually turn back this way onto the mat here. So we're lowering down all the way to the ground with our chin down to the chest, with our chin to the mat. We'll bring our hands behind us, interlacing the fingers, making a fist with the hands. And then as we bring our chin up off the mat, we reach our hands and fist back towards our heels. And just taking a breath here. And then we'll release. Bringing our hands in front of us. And we'll push up, push back. We'll make our way onto our back. As we come onto our back here, we'll press into the forearms and just begin to lift our hips and pelvis up towards the sky. And then we'll release it back down. We'll do it again, but we'll add a sway and a movement to it, right? So lifting the hips, the hip comes up towards the left to center and then back down towards the right. So up towards the left to the center and down towards the right. And we'll come back to center And we'll release and we'll go the other way. So the hips come up towards the right, center, and down to the left. Hips to the right, to the center, and down towards the left. Just keep going for a few sensations there. And we'll come back to stillness. We'll release it down. And we'll hug ourselves in from here. So hug yourselves in tight, remembering, maybe taking a moment here to remember those seeds that you planted. Remember those intentions that you set for yourself, for your life, the top 3 things that you are desiring to create, manifest, and bloom. Just holding on tight, giving it love, support. And then from here, let's open the legs up and let's come into happy baby position here. So just letting your knees splay out to the side and just holding on to anywhere along your legs that feel comfortable for you. So whether that's the side here of the calves or the ankles or the edges of the feet, just to do whatever feels good for you. And just rock your baby back and forth. You gotta care for your baby, right? Just like you gotta care for and nourish your seeds because they need your love and support and work to grow. Remember that you have to put in the work in order to grow your seeds. A farmer doesn't just plant the seeds and walk away and expect a harvest to come, in a few months. There's continued work that needs to be done to the land, removing the weeds, watering, nourishing, all that kind of stuff. And just rock back and forth. Nice. And we'll bring our hands to the outside. We'll push our legs back together, dropping the feet down to the mat. We'll open our arms up. We'll lift the hips up, bring the hips towards the left. We'll drop the knees down to the right. Taking a few breaths here. And we'll come back to center. We'll lift the hips up. The hips come towards the right, and then the knees drop down towards the left. And we'll come back to center. And from here, we'll release the legs, we'll release the arms, laying flat down. And just closing our eyes, we'll take 1 minute here in a resting pose called Shavasana, just to absorb all of the work that we've done, all of the intentions that we've set today. Just releasing, just letting go. Just allowing yourself to sink into complete relaxation right now. And I'll give you a minute of silence here. From here, begin to bring awareness back into the body. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then stretch out. So stretching your toes out, bringing your hands out above your head, and just fully stretching from toes to fingertips. Like you're waking up. And bending your left knee and rolling towards the right side of your mat, coming into a nice fetal position, waking up. And when you're ready, placing your hand down on the mat and coming and making your way back to a seating position with the eyes closed here. Just settling into your breath. We'll bring the hands to heart center. We'll take a deep breath in. We'll fill up the lungs. Exhale. Again, deep breath in, filling up the lungs. Release. One more time, biggest, deepest breath in. Exhale through the mouth. This time, we'll take a deep breath in once again to seal the class. Taking a deep breath in for Om. So take it in, fill up the lungs, fill up another sip of air. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Camille with Yogini Transit. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this little session here, whether you are watching live or watching the replay. Please enjoy and please have a beautiful rest of your day. So, bye.